Welcome back for another video. The Roundup is a series on this channel that arms you with useful information to take into each game week to arrive at better decisions. This includes the top players for predicted points, the bookies' odds, transfer trends and more. An accumulation of smaller but correct decisions can have a significant impact on your rank over the course of the season. Just before we jump in, today's video is sponsored by Spitch, which is a free app on both iOS and Android. A link to the app's at the top of the description. Spitch complements FPL very well. You create a lineup within the budget and you score points based on how they do. What sets it apart is you pick a fresh team every game week, almost like having a wildcard every week, and on top of that you can win cash prizes. You can even join mid-game week, so if you miss the early kickoff you're fine. I love the concept as it's a lot more fun than putting a bet on a game. However, since you can play for money, it's 18 plus only. It also supports the channel, so give it a try and see what you think. Thank you again to Spitch. To download the app, simply hit the link at the top of the description. Enjoy the video. We'll start with the Goalscorer Odds, which are always based on the assumption that a player starts, and this is sometimes not the case. Salah's top with a 72% chance of scoring any time across his 2 games. He's hit double-digit points in 9 games this season, and we've seen what he's capable of in a double game week after his 28-pointer in Gameweek 26. It's a tougher double for Liverpool this time round, facing Brighton and Arsenal on the road. Lacazette is second with a 66% chance of scoring. Although he rarely hauls, his points have been ticking along with returns in 8 of his last 10 games played, from 2 goals and 8 assists. Arsenal play their double at home against Leicester and Liverpool respectively. Kane has a 61% chance of scoring, and he's been in excellent form recently, hitting double digits in 3 of his last 4 games. Spurs travel to Man United for the first of their double and then to Brighton. If Tottenham's 5-0 win against Everton was a turning point in their form, then Kane looks like he'd be a top player to own, and I'm looking to pick him up from Gameweek 30 onwards, where Spurs don't blank either. With the signing of Diaz, it's even harder to predict minutes for Mane and Jota, and although they could haul in this double, they look like a void with better picks elsewhere. Martinelli's an excellent pick for only 5.3 mil. Arsenal and Tottenham are the only 2 sides who double in Gameweek 29 and also play in Gameweek 30. So if you're looking to move a player on with a single Gameweek 29 and blank in Gameweek 30, then you gain 2 extra fixtures over the space of 2 game weeks. Many managers face a predicament with Reece James after his injury, so Spurs or Arsenal defenders could be the answer. Let's take a look at the clean sheet odds next, which have been aggregated across both games, and Liverpool are top with a 59% chance of keeping a clean sheet. They've kept 14 clean sheets this season, which is only 1 less than Man City, who are top with 15. Everton have one of the better double game week fixture pairings against Wolves and Newcastle, with both games at home. The fans will be rallying behind their side, as they simply cannot afford to keep dropping points for the position they're in. There's not really any options there, but perhaps Pickford if you're on a free hit, or if you're on a wildcard, as Everton do have 4 postponements. Chelsea are third with a 52% chance, but will be missing Reece James, who's out injured until after the international break. Many of us were surprised to see Rudiger bench for the Norwich game, but you imagine Tuchel trusted his side to get the result, and you imagine he returns to the starting 11 for the Newcastle game. Arsenal have a 48.5% chance, followed closely by Spurs with a 47% chance. Despite the double game week for Newcastle, they've been given a 31% chance. Eddie Howe's done a terrific job, and Newcastle have 5 wins and a draw over their last 6. Though they travel to Chelsea and Everton for their double game week, which will be a real test. Rock bottom this game week's Crystal Palace, who are up against Man City, followed by Leicester and Norwich. If you're finding this video useful, please remember to drop it a like to support the channel. Onto the predicted points, courtesy of FPL Review, and it's Mo Salah leading the way once again with 13.5 predicted points. He was very lively in the Champions League and should have been on the score sheet, hitting the post twice. In fact, post-match he said, "I hit the post twice, it is okay, maybe next game I will score 3. So those of us with the armband on him will certainly be hoping so, and you need to be very brave or perhaps even reckless to bet against him. If there's anyone who might be worth considering elsewhere, it's Kane, who has 9.5 predicted points, but if I owned both I'd still go Salah. In Kane's first 14 games this season he had 1 goal and 1 assist, and in the games since he has 9 goals and 2 assists. Lacazette and Mane are tied on 9.4 predicted points. Arsenal are out of all competitions, which does boost their chances of a strong finish to the season, and Lacazette could be a season keeper with that in mind. Trent and Robertson make the top 10, and between them they have 24 attacking returns this season. The 2 of them are a sort of picks that you could trust to leave in your team for the remainder of the season, which is particularly important at this point, as that leaves 13 other spots in your team and 10 transfers remaining before the season's over. Let's take a look at the most transferred players next, and the most brought in player is Saka, who's been picked up by over 250,000 managers already. It looks the safest of the Arsenal mids, but Martinelli and Odegaard are great picks too. Over the last 4 games played, Saka's created 11 chances, which ranks the highest among all midfielders. Reece James is second with over 200,000 managers bringing him in. We've discussed all season why early transfers are simply not worth the risk. The later you make your transfers, the more information you have to hand. James now reportedly is going to miss Chelsea's next 4 games, and those who picked him up were punished by the impatience. In my opinion, if you're going to be priced out of a move, there's nearly always a good alternative option. Very early in the season is the only time you might consider early transfers to build team value, but certainly not in Gameweek29. Kulusevski has settled straight in and he's a genuine option with the double in 29 and no blank in 30. Beyond that, Spurs face Newcastle in Gameweek 31 and they have a reasonable chance of doubling in 33, so for 6.1 mil he's a top pick. Doherty's been flying recently with an 18 and a 14 pointer in his last 2. There are question marks whether he plays the next 3 games, but for 4.7 mil he's a great punt and an option for those selling James. Coutinho was one of the top scorers in Gameweek 28, but that boat may well have sailed now, as Villa have tough fixtures on the horizon, including Arsenal, Wolves, Tottenham and Liverpool in their next 5. On to the most transferred out players, and top is Bowen, who's been dropped by well over 300,000 managers ahead of Gameweek 29. He was withdrawn in the 53rd minute against Liverpool with a heel injury, and he was absent from their Europa League squad. Considering the alternative picks available such as Saka and Kulusevski, it's no surprise to see him top. Diaz is out injured for around the next month or so, and he's the second most sold, followed by Ronaldo and Cancelo. Jota also appears on the list, though at this point I'd be tempted to keep hold unless selling him was for a Liverpool triple up elsewhere. Jimenez finally rewarded those who kept hold after scoring and picking up bonus in the comfortable 4-0 win against Watford. He's another player who looks worth holding at this point unless you're dropping him for Kane or Lacazette. We'll finish the roundup as always with the captaincy poll results. Thanks to everyone who voted on the poll on our Discord. If you'd like to join, a link's in the description. The results are in and they are as follows. We didn't need to include many options this gaming because it's Salah who dominates the poll with 83.8% of the vote. 10.8% have opted for Kane, who was second on the predicted points chart, but beyond that, Son, Trent, Mane and Lacazette all get a few votes each. That concludes this Gameweek episode of the Roundup. Thanks for watching. If you found it useful, please hit like to support the channel and hit subscribe if you're new. We'll be live on Saturday morning for the deadline stream, so I hope to see you then.